The Department of Government Efficiency has announced over the weekend they did another Doge dump. Contracts are being canceled. They've found hundreds of millions of dollars in grants and loans that appear to have gone to children, in some cases younger than 11 years old. And in some cases, the names on the application did not match the Social Security numbers. Now, I understand we don't hold bureaucrats to that high of a standard, but anyone processing these applications, if the name and the Social Security number does not match, wouldn't that be a red flag? Who in their right mind would approve that type of application? Who would send checks for $10, $15, in some cases $25,000? And we wonder why we are in the shape that we're in. We wonder why we have $30+ trillion of debt. And this is just another example of the job that Elon Musk is doing and the necessity of having Donald Trump in the White House to make these tough decisions, because we're going to have some pretty rough times, I'm afraid, in the coming months from the standpoint of these groups, as these cuts continue and these pet projects start losing their funding. Just about everybody in the United States will be affected somehow. I mean, I already have several friends who are associated with different organizations whose funding is being threatened and probably going to be cut. And I don't want anyone to lose their job. But isn't that what this is all about? I mean, people who are on the government dole, a lot of those, their funding is going to be cut. They're going to need to go find one of these new jobs that's going to be created as manufacturing comes back to the United States as a result of the tariffs. They can find a job. Now, they're going to have to actually work. They'll actually have to go to the office, because that's how most businesses operate, unlike the government who allows you to stay home. But this is part of the process that we're going to have to do if we're going to get our country turned around, if we're going to build a strong economy that can withstand anything. And that's why I am so happy that Donald Trump is in the White House, because Trump is the only person who has the backbone to make these decisions and to reassure us it's going to be okay. Yes, there may be some tough times, but we'll get through it and we'll come out much stronger. As he was talking to Maria Bartiromo on Sunday Morning Futures yesterday in cut number 3, again, he talked about this transition period, hesitating to say that it's going to be a recession. Here's Donald Trump.
There are rising worries about a slowdown. You've got the Atlanta Federal Reserve saying we're going to have a contraction in the first quarter. Look, I know that you inherited a mess, and you said that the other night.
I've only been here,
but are you expecting a recession this year?
I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition, because what we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America. That's a big thing. And there are always periods of, it takes a little time. It takes a little time. But I think it should be great for us. I mean, I think it should be great.
Before you came into the Oval Office the first time, you were a very successful businessman, very successful real estate executive. And a lot of people said, oh, this is the business president. This is it. He's watching the stock market. He knows all about, he doesn't want the market to go down. And now we've got tariffs and the market has been going down.
Well, not much. I mean, in all fairness.
You said, look, we're going to have a disruption, but we're okay with that. Is that what you meant? The stock market going down was the disruption? What other disruption were you alluding to?
Look, what I have to do is build a strong country. You can't really watch the stock market. If you look at China, they have a 100-year perspective. We have a quarter. We go by quarters.
That's true.
And you can't go by that. You have to do what's right. What we're doing is we're building a tremendous foundation for the future, tremendous foundation. Everything's been taken away. We don't make ships anymore. We don't, you just saw one of the biggest shipbuilders in the world, one of the biggest shipping people in the whole world.
In the Oval Office with you.
In the Oval Office. He's announcing a $20 billion investment in the United States, which he would have never done except for this. But look at this. Honda, Toyota, they're all coming in. You take a look at what's happening. The chip maker, the greatest chip, Mr. Wei, the biggest in the world by far, is going to spend $200 billion on making a massive plant to make chips.
So that's your message? Build it here?
Build it here, there's no tariff.
There's going to be some tough times, and that's what we have to be prepared for, and we have to understand that we're going to stick with President Trump knowing that he's doing what's best for a long-term solution. Look, he's only been there just over a month. 800-655-MIKE, 1-800-655-6453. Are you okay with what's happening with the tariffs? Are you prepared to maybe have to pay a little more for imported goods, knowing that manufacturing in the U.S. is going to be ramped up? And soon there'll be more American-made products, which, by the way, will create those American jobs. Maybe some of those bureaucrats who are about to lose their job can go to work for some of the new manufacturers. President Trump yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures, avoiding using the word recession, but it's obviously something that we think about and talk about, because it only makes sense that if tariffs are going to be raised on goods coming in, it's not realistic to think that the manufacturers are going to absorb all of those. They're going to pass it on to the consumers. A texter on the MyPillow text line says, I really want to hear people start talking about other countries' tariffs on U.S. goods. Everybody keeps giving the horror show of what the tariffs are that we're passing to Canada and Mexico, but nobody's talking about things like the 249%, or should I say up to 249% for poultry being shipped into Canada and other goods that we're getting charged massive tariffs on for our goods going to their countries. So I want people to really start understanding it, because anytime anyone says anything, people say, where's your proof? It's online and easy to find. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of countries around the world who charge very hefty tariffs on U.S.-made goods. But I think after these 4 years of just horrendous inflation and the experience that we've had, and that's why Donald Trump won so easily in November, is because Americans are tired of struggling. Americans are tired of worrying about paying their rent, filling their automobile up with gasoline, paying their utilities, their electricity, their water, buying groceries. We've seen so many goods that eggs. I saw a video that's being circulated on a lot of social media sites right now of a lady getting a pedicure in a salon, and it comes time to pay, and she pulls out a carton of eggs and starts counting out eggs as her payment. That's kind of where we are. Eggs are expensive. But it's going to take a little while to get these things done. Now, I was encouraged when I heard Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick on NBC yesterday, as he was pretty confident in cut number 4, saying that prices of imports will be up. Yes, that's a given. But American products are going to be cheaper once we start manufacturing things here and bringing the manufacturing back here, so that Americans have those jobs and we have more access to American-made products. Here's Howard Lutnick.
I think it's important for people to realize that we run $2 trillion deficits, and Donald Trump is going to try to balance the budget of the United States of America. And when you balance the budget of the United States of America, you drive interest rates down 150 basis points, 1.5%. You're going to have mortgages come smashing down. The cost of your home will come smashing down. We're going to drill, baby, drill, and drive down the price of energy. That's coming down. So these two massive moves are going to to happen. And you know who's going to pay for that? Tariffs and outside countries who just leech off of us, lean on us, earn money off of us. They've got to start to pay. President Trump wants the American people to start to understand the External Revenue Service should start to pay. Yes, some products that are made foreign might be more expensive, but American products will get cheaper, and that's the point. Buy American, made by great Americans. We're going to bring manufacturing back. That's where we're going. That's where this president is going. Bring it back. Yeah. So will there be distortions? Of course. Foreign goods may get a little more expensive, but American goods are going to get cheaper, and you're going to be helping Americans by buying American.
And this all makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, I remember many years ago, and being from upstate South Carolina, this at one time was the textile capital of the world. And a local entrepreneur who was very, very successful, Roger Milliken, and his company, unfortunately, Roger's not with us anymore, but his company lives on, is very strong, makes a lot of products, but they were a leader in textiles. And Mr. Milliken started this whole Buy in America thing. He's very proud of the fact. He wanted you to look at the labels, and every product that his company made had an American flag and a made in USA label. Maybe we need to get back to be very conscious of where the products that we buy are made. Now granted, it's hard to find sometimes. Some items, you go through the stores, the shelves, and it's just hard to find a product that's made in America because so many products, inexpensive products from Taiwan and China. But we got to make a conscious effort to start doing that. And as these companies start building these manufacturing plants, it's going to be easier to find.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.